Okay, so this is what you're gonna watch me build for the next hour. So this is what it's gonna look like when it's finished. So at the end of the build, you'll kind of see it kind of in skeletal form with some of the panels and stuff off, but generally this will be the build. So I'm pretty sure I went into some of the specs during the build, but since we're at the beginning here, I am going to show you guys, or should I say tell you guys, what the specs are, which go over a few things. So this is an X99 based system. This is going to be a sub $400 build. This is not going to be an expensive build. This is not an elaborate build, but it is a good, clean build with a solid set of parts. We got Fantex case, Fantex fans on the front, Noctua fans on the back, stock Intel heatsink. It is kind of a low-end heatsink, but it does the job. It's not as loud as you would think, and it does the job. And that lets me get it as low as possible on the price. And to be totally honest, as long as it's reasonably quiet and it keeps the chip the temperature that it should be, you're good. We've got 32 gigs of RAM, which is more RAM than I'm normally going to put in a system at this price range, but I'm out of 16 gig kits. I need 16 plus 8 gig kits, so 2x8, 2x4 to do 24, and I'm out of those. So now we've moved on to the 32 gig kits, so the lower end builds are going to get 32 now. We've got a ASUS blower style turbo, they call it, GTX 1070. That's in, actually, as I show you in the video, it's actually in very good condition. I'm assuming it was either in a clean room or almost never used. ASUS X99 motherboard, so just a pretty much your basic vanilla X99 motherboard. This one does have, you can kind of see it there, it does have a 500 gig M.2 SSD, or is it 500? What do we got? This one's a 512. There's 480, 500, 512. They're all 500 gig SSDs, but some of them are varieties. You're gonna see it when I show the build, but 750 watt Corsair power supply. I believe, I don't remember for certain. This is either a Fantex P420 or P620. I'm thinking it's a 420 because it is smaller, but it's one of those two cases. And then, yeah, there's nothing else to go over here. Just a good, clean entry-level gaming build. This is going to be able to play pretty much anything you throw at it, other than like this year's releases. This is going to be able to run most games surprisingly well. It's going to be able to run anything you throw at it at 1080, and it's going to run a lot of what you throw at it at 1440, especially with the upscaling and stuff now. A few games, you're going to have to really crank the settings low. I mean, really high-end stuff. Stuff that's known to eat computers for dinner. We're talking your Jedi Survivors, your Cyberpunk Cyberpunk's going to run well, actually, but your Cyberpunk 2077s, your Hogwarts Legacies, you know, those kind of games, you're going to have to turn some settings down. You just are. This is a sub $500 computer. Help me out here a little bit, people. Anyway, all in all, decent, clean build. So I hope you guys enjoy watching me put it together in a couple of minutes. So stay tuned. We are getting started on today's build. It's a little bit late, but I'm really hoping I can get this thing built today. So let's get started. So on this one, we're gonna do, let's see here. We're going to do well, interestingly enough, there's actually a fairly nice case, but it only came with a couple of case fans. So I pulled out some nice Noctua. I can never get that right, and I know somebody is going to get mad at me, but whatever. Yeah, it's a fairly nice case, but for whatever reason, I'm kind of surprised it didn't come with at least like 4 case fans, but so this machine was a pickup from today. This is part of a deal that I got just today. I was at work, and every so often I glance down at my phone. Are we not getting? Is this thing out of focus? It is. Okay, that's better. Is that better? Okay, now we're too bright. Let's see here. The wrong direction. So there's like no way to do this. You cannot have this. It's either too dim or too bright. I need some additional lighting components that I don't have. But for now, you guys are going to have to deal with this. Sorry. For the most part, for most of the build, except for stuff that's like really close like this, it should look fine. I wish I could get it perfect. I'm still fairly new at this professional lighting thing. Lighting has always been something I've not been the best with at photography, so. But this is a step up. This is, if any of you guys go back and you go through my old builds, they're a joke compared to this as far as video quality. Okay, that one's in. And then we're going to do one on the top in the corner there. Now, it's worth mentioning, this build, this is probably even overkill for what this thing actually needs. It's going to be an X99 build, but mid-range X99 builds that aren't overclocked aren't really that hot. They're actually a lot cooler than I think most people would think for what they are. But anyway, so as I was saying, this is part of a deal that I got. I just happened to glance at Craigslist while I was working, and or not Craigslist, Facebook Market. And you don't buy much off Craigslist anymore. I get stuff occasionally, but not much. But anyway, so I saw an X99 and an X99 build, and the guy had it for, let's just say, a price I was happy to pay. And it was a complete build. It had an SSD, it had everything. I didn't have to go out and get any parts for it. It was complete. I would have liked the cases to be tempered glass, which they're not, but that's okay for these budget builds. I'm finding that buyers are generally fine. I'm going to guess this is a nice non-tempered case. They actually offer this one in tempered, but this particular unit isn't. But I'm finding that on the budget builds, buyers seem to be generally okay with it, especially, like I said, when you have a case like this where it's a really nice case. Okay, where are these supposed to... Wait a sec. Oh, I wonder if... See, I think... I'm trying to think where I put the case... Oh, here we go. See, I think you can put... Oh, yeah, you can. But I think what I'm going to do... I don't want... Now, I might be wrong on this, but my assumption has always been that in a build like this, where you're getting the air from the front panel, my assumption has always been that if you mount the case fans on the other side here, and then put the panel over it, I'm pretty sure that you're obstructing the airflow because the frame of the fan is diminishing the amount of free flow air in here. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I'm fairly certain that that's probably the case. So I'm gonna do, I want the fans on the inside. The other reason I do the fans on the inside is because normally on my higher end builds, these are gonna be RGB. And so if it's a tempered glass case, we're not going to be able to see the RGB fans if they're here. So generally speaking, I'm gonna tend to optimize towards making my RGB fans the most visible that they can be. Otherwise, why bother putting them in, right? I didn't do a deal pickup on this one because I finished work. I was like right on the knife's edge on this deal. And actually, so I messaged the guy. I was like, hey, I want to pick this up, blah, blah, blah. He was like, okay, it's going to be first come, first serve. I'm only available till this time. I was like, crap. So luckily, I was able to finish my work and get out there and pick it up. But I asked the guy, because I always do. I always ask, because I'm always curious what my competition is doing. And if I can get info on my competition from the sellers, so much the better, right? But I asked him, I said, so these are really long case fan cables too. That's really nice. That's actually really nice. I wish more manufacturers did that. So I asked the guy, I said, hey, was anyone else interested in this? And he pulls out his phone and shows me like 50 emails that he got right after me. I was like, dang. So I got lucky that I was able to get out there when I did. And then, oh, on top of that, so what ended up happening, and this is something, if you do builds, you always want to check for this on your builds when you're on site with the sellers. I got out there and he ended up having 2 builds additional to the one that I had emailed him on that he hadn't posted yet. And he was like, well, since you're the first one, you can take your pick of which one you want. And I was like, well, how about I buy all of them? And he was like, you got money? I was like, yep. So always, if you're doing purchases, you always want to take money with you to make additional purchases if you're trying to make money on this, because you never know. I mean, I've had deals where I've gone out to pick up like a $25 item and I end up spending like $500, $600, $700 with a buyer. Like, it happens. It's quite common actually for it to happen. It's not even uncommon. It's really common that ends up happening. So you always want to, let's make sure that this works. So I'm not sure how, you know what? Damn them. Did they, oh, no, they, okay, it's good. They put a cutout on it. Oh, no, they didn't, did they? Oh, no, I think they did. Okay, yeah, they did put a cutout on it. Okay, cool, so that'll work. And the other cool thing with this particular purchase was the, okay, let's put in our power supply next. So this particular purchase, the seller, was, he had some sort of connection with a fairly well-known game studio. I'm not going to specify when I'm doing these, but a fairly well-known game studio. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I like having, so this is another trick if you're trying to make sales. Take photos. Get good photos of the parts. So I usually just grab my cell phone and I just take a quick picture of the part, make sure it's a... So my opinion on this is that you can use stock photos. However, my opinion on that is that buyers want to see what the parts look like now. They don't want to see a stock photo. They want to see the parts that they're buying, and they want to see what those parts look like now. Not what they looked like brand new 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever years ago. That's not what buyers want. They want to see what it looks like now. Because, like, what's the point of looking at it if you can't actually see what your set of parts looks like? Okay, so if you saw, I'm putting the power supply in upside down, and the reason for that is because I want, what the heck? I want the intake for the power supply to come from outside air. So a couple more just totally ideal things about this pickup was that these builds were workstations in a gaming studio. Now, they are X99, which is older, but they had 6800Ks in them, which I have found to be a good bit better of a chip for gaming than the 5820 or 5930K chips that I normally end up with on budget X99 builds. They had the lower end what do they call them? Blower versions of the 1070 in them, which you'll see once I go to put it in, which I would have preferred a 2 or 3 fan version if possible. However, once again, they were workstations. These weren't actually, I mean, they were, I think some gaming was done on them because they were, you know, workstations at a gaming company. But, because of the fact that they were at a game studio, a real game studio, they were exceptionally clean, like way cleaner than normal, like way cleaner than normal. Like I basically only had to do like the bare minimum on the cleaning. So these didn't have to be like deep cleaned like a lot of the builds I get do. You guys don't see it because I don't do it as a component of the main build, because when I'm doing these builds, I just want to show you guys the build. But most of the time, not rare, most of the time, it's going to take, I'm going to say typically at least as long as the build itself to recondition the case. Sometimes I don't even bother. Sometimes I get cases that are dirty enough that I just toss them. If it's going to take, like if I look at a case and I determine it's going to take me, like say more than an hour to clean it, I'm oftentimes just going to toss it. Especially because if the case is that dirty, there's a very good chance I'm never even going to be able to fully recondition it. Depends on how it's dirty, what it's dirty with. If it's just a lot of dust, it's usually, even if it's caked on dust, it's usually pretty easy to just take it out, blow it with the blower, and then bring it back in and wipe it down. But if it's like nasty stuff, or sometimes you get cases where somebody has spilled something sticky on the outside and it permanently damages the paint. And I'm not into repainting cases. It's just not my thing. It's just beyond what I do. So if I get a case like that, I'm generally just going to toss it. I wish more companies selling cases on Amazon sold them without fans, because generally speaking, that's not good. Where did it go? Go outside? Did I get lucky? No, I didn't. Oh, you suck. Where did it go? There it is. Do I got a magnetic screwdriver? Oh, no, that's not the case. That's not the... Okay, good. I just had to get that one screw out that I dropped. Yeah, I wish that case manufacturers on Amazon offered their cases without fans, because I find that the fans that they come with are very rarely something that I actually want to use. So I wish that there were more options for just not using them at all and just providing my own case fans. Oh, where did that screw go? Or shall I say, doing that at a decent deal. Typically, manufacturers put a pretty heavy... Oh, why am I getting shadow there? What is that shadow from? Is that my TV? We're definitely getting some shadow here from something. Can I get rid of it is the question. I don't think I can. What the heck? Where is that even coming from? Okay, that's annoying. It doesn't matter what direction I point the light. Oh, it's casting its own... Well, yeah, but the direction... Whatever. I don't have time to mess with it today. I think what I'm going to need to do to actually get the lighting on these the way I really want it, I'm probably going to have, instead of the one really powerful light that I have right now, I think I'm going to have to get a number of less substantially, like a quarter of the power lights, and just mount them pointing from all different directions. Okay, so do we have, usually these are labeled. Usually the ASUS ones are labeled pretty well. Okay, fans, where are they? Yeah, they're not labeled. Oh, okay, cool. CPU, pump fan. Yeah, that's not quite the way I want it, but I guess what we're going to do is we're going to take this one. We're going to grab that. We're going to zip tie that. And then we're going to kind of stow the rest of that cable just kind of shoved underneath the where the fan is sitting in the case. So usually you can do that. Bam. And then if you do it right, you can usually kind of wedge it under there and get it completely visibly out of the way and reasonably tight too. Okay, so that's that. And then this one is going to be, let's see. Okay, so we want, this one is going to go here. There's 3 fan headers. One is labeled for the pump, which we're not going to do on this build. This build isn't going to be liquid cooled. These actually have a somewhat rare Intel stock heatsink. I think it's only rare because of the fact that most people who do X99 end up liquid cooling them. Okay, let's put this guy in while we're working up here. Yeah, most people are going to end up liquid cooling an X99 build. You know what? We should have gone. Well, you know what? We could do that. Let's just do this. So put it there. What's kind of going on there? Not a fan of these really thick. Some of these cables have really thick rubberized things on them toward the top of the cable. I know it's for its purpose, but it kind of gets in the way. Okay, so that goes there, and oh my, that has like, oh, that has no cable tie. What? Why would you not have? I guess I can mount it. I can do it over here, but I wonder why they wouldn't have. That's odd. I guess I'm gonna do that. I guess I should have put it. Should have put it over there like I was thinking of doing. It's okay. Surprised this doesn't have a bunch of tie downs because it's actually a fairly high-end case. I think when new, I'll have to look. I think I didn't look, but I think this is a Fantex P620, I think. It's either a P420 or P620, I think. Okay, so put that there. So we're trying to start using these Velcro ties a little more. I'm trying to do a better job of simplifying my cable management runs on these builds. I'm starting to feel like I'm making people's lives more difficult with the way I do my cable management, so I stopped using all the zip ties. I wonder if I could... Man, I don't want to do that, though. I'm going to have to double check something on that. But, okay, so that's that. And it's got these, they have these big rubber things on them, and they're just not good. Put that there. So we'll just keep adding cables to this, and then when it's done, we'll have probably a big cable bundle right there. And then we're probably going to have the GPU. I'm going to guess right here. Yeah, that's probably where we're going to do that. Okay. Then we're going to do... So do I have enough fan headers? One. There's got to be another one. One. I thought there was one. Oh, I guess there's not. Okay, so we might have to split. Got one there. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to use a splitter with this one. It's not a big deal. I generally prefer to run each fan to its own header if possible, just for better independent control, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to install... I should probably make sure my camera's still running. I've had some... Okay, it's still running. I've got a timer set this time. The last one I didn't. Okay, so we're going to do this. Now, damn it. These heat sinks that these came with are, like I said, this kind of slightly unusual Intel heatsink. I don't think it's that they're unusual. I think what it is that, like I said, most people don't use them. But it's got a giant hunk of copper on it, and I believe it actually may even have a copper heat pipe on it. So it's actually not that bad. And actually, I've done tests on them for thermals, and they're actually cooler and a lot quieter than you would expect for what it is. It's not a jet engine, and it actually keeps the thing fairly cool. It's surprisingly good, which I was actually really surprised. I saw my first one fairly recently, and I was actually really surprised at how effective it was. Would have been better if it had black cables, but it's not really intended for a visually aesthetic look. Oops, I meant to pull the M.2 out, but I wanted to show the install on it. Okay, so that's on. Then we're going to put in our HyperX Fury. Let's see. Usually it'll be marked. I believe on this board, your first two are these gray ones there. Oops. Bam. Bam. Okay, so I gotta start the recording again, and then we'll keep going. Let's get started again. So we're actually making really good time. I think this one may actually hit really close to that hour. So let's put our GPU in. So the interesting thing with this, one of the ways you can tell how clean these are, how well they were taken care of, you look at these fans. If there's stuff in there, that doesn't mean they weren't taken care of, but if you see one that's as clean as this, that can mean that it was almost never used. I mean, it's pretty hard to get that dust out, so it's a pretty sure bet that if there's not much dust embedded in that thing, that there was never much dust in there, because it's not, you can't really remove it once it's caked on. Like, you can remove it so that there's only a light layering of it on the blades, but yeah, you can't really fully remove it once it's there, or at least it would be, maybe it would be possible, but it would be very difficult to do. Maybe somebody has a method that I haven't thought of, but okay. I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to put a secondary drive in this one. I feel like for a mainstream build, terabyte is what people want, a terabyte of SSD, in fact, but I feel like for a budget build, 512 SSD probably is sufficient. Especially because these came with M.2 SSDs as well. Okay. So we put that there. And then we're going to pull all the extra. Okay, so that lays flat there. And then we'll just kind of shove the extra down into that well area by the power supply. And then we'll do just one zip tie here. Actually, we don't even need it on both, just the one. That'll just make it come out of there real clean. Okay, so then that'll go in there. Then we need, do I have a fan splitter down here? I thought I had one. What do we have? Yeah, got one, so we're good there. We're gonna do this one. So I'll put it right. This is a pain in the butt, the way they set up this this 24 pin. I'm not a fan of that. That's Corsair's fault. Okay, so that's gonna go there. Put this there. Oops. Okay. Bam. And then we'll run this right in between there. And then we'll just connect these two. And we're just going to kind of put these into one big thing there like that. Might want 2 of them for the way I'm trying to do that. Okay. Then, I mean, I wish there was a, wish there were a tie down there. That'd make me happy, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay. Then, oh, I guess I could have done that. I didn't even see that there. Whoops. Okay. I didn't realize it had a built-in that's fine though. I mean, if I had my choice, I'd probably prefer it connected directly to the motherboard. Maybe it might have a motherboard control thing there too. I didn't look. Okay, so then that is going to be front panel HD audio. And just run that there. And run that there. And as usual, I'm going to assume that we are in the lower corner of the board. Almost every motherboard manufacturer has standardized to this location for their onboard audio hardware and the connector. Okay, there's that. And then what do we have next? We have our USB 3, which I'm thinking... Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to go... Let's see here. Yeah, let's do the second one of these over. That SATA power plug I just threw out of the way was most likely the plug for the onboard fan controller. And I think going forward, we're definitely going to do the builds all this way. I think yeah, I think that's the right way to do it. Okay. And just for the sake of that staying in place, I really like to put a zip tie on these. The way you do this is you bend a zip tie real good, and then you just run it through. Bam, just like that. So I'm just zip tying the USB 3 header cable to the to the large metal grill over the power supply. It just holds it in place. USB 3 connectors are kind of fragile, so you want to do as best as you can to keep them from moving. Okay, so then looks like our last items are going to be here. We might not even have to undo the thing for them. And it looks like we might be in luck. Oh, nope, we had more than I thought. Okay, we got a power LED. Just thinking we only had power and reset. Looks like we have power, LED, and reset. And this might actually be done technically within the day today. I'm not sure. It might be published after midnight or it might be published within the day. I do not know yet. I'm trying to have it within the day. I want, if possible, I want to get to the point where I'm doing one actual build uploaded to the channel per day. Per day, as in 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. I want to turn this channel into the ultimate PC builds channel. Okay, let's see here. Power. What we got for, okay, plus minus, power LED plus, power LED minus, okay. Looks like it does not have a hard IDE, whatever you call it, hard drive LED. Okay. Bam. So we are good. Let's just zip tie this to that. So this build is, at this point, kind of more or less done. Okay, so are we still recording? Yes, we are. Okay. Now, I've already pre-tested all of this, so I know it works. I've even already done the Windows install. Okay, let's see here. Let's do a little bit of tidy up with the cabling on the front here. And then we'll be good to go. Let's just do that. There's just a set of loose front panel cables at the very top of the case that I'd like to have. And honestly, it doesn't, a lot of this doesn't even matter because this is a build with no glass or anything. It's just, it's a perfectionist stuff at this point. Okay, so I think, so we'll throw the front on. There's that. Oh, it was a hard drive Northwest build. There's that. I'll pull this off later. Yeah, it's not going to go. Oh, it's going to come. Oh, no, it didn't. I'll have to clean it. So there we have it. Just a nice clean build. looks like we're at like 45 minutes or something thereabouts. So this will be right dead on, just under an hour most likely. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn the camera off. That's what we look like backside, front side. Kind of see everything there. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get it all buttoned up, and then I'm going to show you guys what it looks like all finished and sitting there. So, or no, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. This is the end of the video. You will have already seen that part because I'm going to put that part in at the beginning. So you already saw that if you made it this far. So thanks for watching the video.